People stopped walking. Conversations faded. Whatever that thing was, it didn't feel like ordinary public transportation. It felt like a promise of something better. That feeling belonged to a very specific moment in history. Europe in the 1950s, just after the war, when cities were rebuilding and people were learning how to live again, not just survive. Money was still tight, but hope was starting to return. Families had to choose carefully. A refrigerator to make summers bearable. A television so everyone could sit together at night. Maybe, if you were lucky, a small car of your own. And then there was another dream, quieter but just as powerful. On many routes, there were meals, drinks, and careful attention from staff who understood that passengers wanted to arrive relaxed, not worn out. Compared to the cramped buses most people knew, this felt like first-class travel on asphalt. What made this era truly unusual was how these machines were created. Transport companies usually started with a solid foundation, a chassis and engine from manufacturers known for durability. These were often truck or heavy-duty car builders because reliability mattered when you were crossing hundreds of miles. But once the mechanical core was chosen, the real artistry began. The chassis was sent to Coachbuilders, craftsmen who designed the body almost from scratch. Seating layouts, doors, luggage space, window size, and exterior styling were all tailored to the operator's taste. Passengers needed to feel valued, and people standing by the road needed to look up and stare. No one embraced that idea more boldly than a Spanish coach builder called Ayats. Using sturdy Pegaso chassis, they created bodies that showed almost no restraint. This was not subtle influence. This was a love affair with American car styling of the 1950s. Massive grilles inspired by late 40s Cadillacs. So wide and tall, they seemed to dominate the road. Long chrome side trim straight out of Buick design books, lines that made the coach look like it was moving even when parked. Some models leaned fully into the space-age look, borrowing the face of a 1957 Cadillac, complete with visor-style headlights and dramatic bumpers. And then there were whitewall tires. On a bus. Impractical, unnecessary, and absolutely intentional. It sent a clear message. This vehicle was meant to look classy, no matter the cost. It felt like Europe trying on an American outfit. A little oversized, a little flashy, but worn with confidence. One Ayat's model combined elements that never should have met, borrowing the front of a late 50s Oldsmobile and pairing it with a grille inspired by the infamous Edsel. The result was unsettling, a face that left viewers unsure where to look first. It was proof that enthusiasm without restraint can quickly turn into confusion. The fascination with American style spread beyond Spain. In Belgium, the coach builder Van Ho produced a vehicle that pushed the idea even further. Instead of copying a production car, they drew inspiration from a concept car, the 1951 General Motors LeSabre. Imagine that! A futuristic American show car scaled up into a long passenger coach. The result looked less like transportation and more like a rolling exhibition piece. When it passed through small towns, people stopped what they were doing just to watch it go by. It wasn't simply getting from one place to another. It was making a statement. But every design craze eventually cools. As the 1960s arrived, taste changed. In America, the curves and chrome of the previous decade gave way to straighter lines and cleaner shapes. When those trends reached Europe, coach builders faced a problem. Rounded, flowing bodies now had to accept boxy, squared-off front ends. The proportions didn't work. It was massive, double-decked, and covered in glass. Nearly half of the vehicle was transparent, creating the feeling of a rolling observation deck. It looked like a vessel designed to swallow the boulevard and hand the city to its passengers. Inside, tourists sat surrounded by glass, watching Paris drift by while listening to narrated stories through headphones, available in multiple languages. For the 1950s, this was a bold declaration that tourism itself could be modern and immersive. But romance met reality quickly. A glass-covered vehicle running through a Paris summer without air conditioning turned into an oven. What began as a piece of rolling art gained scars, each one a reminder of the cost of daring design. Even so, the Cityrama survived far longer than anyone expected. Not because it was perfect, but because it captured a moment when experience mattered more than efficiency, when bold ideas were allowed to exist even if they weren't practical. They disappeared as taste changed and standardization took over, but precisely because they were so short-lived, they remain unforgettable. In the next episode, we return to the heart of classic American cars, where the sound of a V8 and the shine of chrome tell stories no advertisement ever could.